5 days during the Cranston fire in 2018.
We relayed information between Idlewild Fire and Emergency Management Department. We were provided with messages or broadcasts for motorists or any of the residents that elected to stay back.
The club's efforts are now part of a new emergency notification system adopted by Riverside County on Wednesday. The plan includes installing sirens throughout the San Jacinto Mountains, as well as radio transmitters to boost the volunteer radio station's broadcast signal. I'm Julia Paskin.
Meantime, up in Sequoia National Park, southeast of Fresno, the KNP complex fire continues to burn. Camp Radio's Nick Miller has the latest.
This past weekend, the flames reached the giant forest, and that's a grove of 2,000 huge sequoia trees. Firefighters wrapped the base of the world's largest tree, the General Sherman, in fire-resistant aluminum, and this type of wrapping already saved the 4 guardsmen. Those are 4 trees at the entrance of the forest. The Sequoia and Kings National Parks are closed due to the fires. Blazes in the area have burned into at least 4 other groves of sequoias, but firefighters haven't been able to determine how much damage was done. The KNP complex fire started on September 10th and has burned more than 28,000 acres. Officials forecast even more active fire weather the rest of the week. In Sacramento, I'm Nick Miller.
If you have been barraged by calls from phone numbers you don't recognize, trying to sell you stuff you don't want, you already appreciate what the California Public Interest Research Group has concluded. Service providers are not doing enough to stop illegal robocalls. Those providers have until next Tuesday to comply with a federal law requiring them to block such calls altogether. So far, only 17% of the 3,000 providers nationwide are up to date with that rule. California's Attorney General, Rob Bonta, calls on the FCC to hold companies accountable if they do not meet that deadline.
When Californians pick up the phone, they should feel confident about the identity of the person on the other end of the line. Plain and simple. Telecom companies must block robocalls and do so swiftly. Because every day they wait, another Californian is taken advantage of.
Governor Newsom signed a law in 2019 that gives the state more authority to crack down on callers who use fake caller IDs to defraud people or steal personal information. Meantime, the Federal Trade Commission says robocalls from scammers lead to $10 billion in fraud every year. First responders were dispatched to the Palm Springs DMV yesterday after more than a dozen people reported trouble breathing. Paramedics got the call about 2:30 with several victims saying they felt a burning sensation in their nose, eyes, and throats. It's not clear what caused it, though the office was closed for nearly 2 hours. We're getting into cooler weather for this first full day of fall. At the beaches today, it'll be in the mid-70s, LA Basin and Inland OC, mid-80s. Thank you for listening to the LA Report. I'm Suzanne Watley, inviting you to join us again next time. Meantime, find more news online at LAist.com, and you can always listen live at kpcc.org.
This program is made possible in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
World leaders are at the UN in New York this week to talk about some of the thorniest issues on the planet: Afghanistan, climate change, and the pandemic. For NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, you could add the future of the alliance he leads. It's been a rough month for the 72-year-old military and political alliance. From the chaotic Afghanistan